Welcome everyone to day 2 of EA Global Summit 2021. This is Juhi again from EA's Global Summit organizing team. Thank you everyone for your continual efforts and time towards in joining us for this session. This session is by Daniel Siegel from Liber, presenting this session about LemonTree Components. Kindly be informed that we will be muting all the participants throughout the session, and if any of you are having any questions, please use the chat window or questions window to drop your questions to the speaker. The speaker will answer the questions during the end of the session. And also to enable more one-to-one communication with Daniel and also with other EA practitioners across the world, following to the session, we request you to visit Liber meeting room in MS Teams. The link to the MS Teams channel is posted in the chat window for your quick reference. If anyone is having any difficulties still in connecting to Teams, please reach us in the chat window or drop an email to registrations@eaglobalsummit.com because we may need to add your email as guest in our MS Teams. Thanks once again for your interest and support to EA Global Summit 2021. Looking forward to another informative session with Daniel in this year's summit. Over to you, Daniel, now.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon for the colleagues from the Asian side, or a happy midnight to those listening from the US. Today, we're going to talk about a new feature set that LemonTree has since LemonTree 3.0, which is capabilities to provide reusable model components for your enterprise architect models. Liber, I don't know. I think we should be pretty known in these circles, but anyway, we are an Austrian company with an office in Houston, Texas, and our main focus is to make enterprise architect work for industries that have safety critical norms that build cyber physical systems like automotive, medical, all of these types of industries. And this is what we do for a living. I was raised being an enterprise mobility guy, but very soon in my career, I started also always to be a tool maker, to develop solutions around modeling tools and other tools. At the moment, I'm heavily involved in model-based systems engineering. Also on the standard sides of things, I'm involved in the ProStep consortium, which is an automotive consortium that wants to industrialize the exchange of SysML data. I'm Deputy Assistant Director at the INCOSE for Standards, and I always listen and comment on what the OMG is currently doing. And this is at the moment a very exciting time because, as you might be aware, OMG is working on SysML v2, so there's lots of things to come also from this end. The first thing I want to show you to wake everybody up, I have a short video that will explain what we do, and then we will do a more traditional presentation. Sorry, something went wrong.
Provides even inexperienced users with a clear overview and easily facilitates analysis, testing, and further development. Enterprise Architect is currently used by over 850 people in all areas of industry, but there's always room for more. Today, models play a central role in the lifecycle of complex technical systems. For example, they enable us to trace all development steps and to document them to ensure compliance with regulation and standards. In order to be able to better manage
Daniel, we are seeing a bit of latency in the video, and also the audio is not that audible.
Okay, so we skip the video.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we skip it.
Yeah, we can just add this video as in our channel later for people to see. Yeah.
No problem. No problem. So as I mentioned before, we target companies that build safety relevant cyber physical systems. As I said, it's automotive, it's some space and aerospace technology companies, and medical and so on. Interestingly, more and more companies from other domains like banks and insurances start to also use parts of our technology, of our approaches, because they see that what the safety critical guys do makes also sense for them.
Daniel, I'm sorry to interrupt once again. We are not seeing your presentation screen now.
Okay.
Just sharing. Yeah, we can see your presentation that who uses LemonTree with EA.
Yeah, this was the,
slide.
You haven't seen this slide also, right?
No, we haven't seen this slide as well.
Okay, no problem. So this is basically who we target, people that build safety relevant cyber physical systems, because they have loads of norms to fulfill in order to have the legal requirements fulfilled to deliver their solution. Here is some references from our automotive customer base. It's companies like Volkswagen, like Veoneer or Magna Electronic, or in Asia, type of groups at Daihatsu or Subaru or Samsung SDI, ZF. So there's plenty of companies in the automotive industry using our technologies. And one of the big things for all of them is that the pressure in the market gets bigger and bigger. They have to develop cars faster, subsystems of cars faster. So they have various solution strategies. One is the model-based systems engineering. On the other hand, they need good configuration and change management. They need to act more agile. They need to comply to various norms, and the supply chain is always changing as well. So one of the solution scenarios, overall solution scenarios that they are aiming for, is platform or product line approaches to develop product, and we will look at that in more detail. This is today's focus, how you can do platform or PLE approach using Enterprise Architect. So when we talk about the platform and product line approach, this is now an airliner example. You typically have a platform, how to build an airliner, and then you have various products. In this case, it's product line A, product line B, product line C. And obviously, sometimes during a project, the platform might change inside the project, and you need the capability to update the platform after the changes. And then you might want to propagate at the time that fits the project, not automatically. This is an important point, into the other product lines. So you develop a change to the platform in one product line, and then as you move on at certain points in time, you release or publish these changes to the platform to the other product lines. And also these capabilities that we build to do this product line development with Enterprise Architect can be used for various other scenarios also. You can also send, for example, a part of a model to a supplier. They can add their stuff and send it back, and you can reintegrate it. This would be the supply chain. Or you can use the same capabilities also for advanced team collaboration. Or what we see also more and more, that people basically have given up on the concept of 150% models for variant management, and they use branches and our LemonTree component strategy to be able to manage the variants of one product with the same technology that we introduce for the product line development. The life cycle of the reusable model components is basically independent of the main model. What you see on the left side is the initial enterprise architect model, where we can extract various components and you can store them in some sort of a package repository. This can be a version control system. This can be something, a file system, whatever. This is not part of our core technology. We offer flexibility here, and then you can introduce these components into new models and use the components to build new models. Interestingly, the first time a customer wanted to have a SysML library from me, reusable, was like 15 years ago. So it's been a long time till we finally arrived at the stage where we feel we have a usable solution for this type of componentizing models. Interestingly, the concept is, again, as you might know, the LemonTree concept is very heavily influenced by software engineering and the best practices in software engineering. And this is, again, very close from the ideas, from the concept that we use methods that work well in software engineering to manage the models, which would be Maven or NuGet, typically package management, component-driven software development. And the beauty of this is, at the end of the day, that you can have a life cycle for your product line, for your platform, and the most effective thing about all of this is that you can have that you can exchange components or update components independent of this life cycle of a product line, the main life cycle. Imagine you have a project for customer A where you use an old version of a controller, of a mini computer, embedded mini computer, and for the new project you already start with a new design, a new hardware component. So you can reuse everything from the old model, but just replace the part with a newer version that contains the embedded mini computer. At the later stage, when maybe you sell your customer an update of the initial product line, you can then simply exchange the part of the model that contains the mini computer and update the product line or the project independently. So, and one key thing about this creating components from models is always the dependencies, because generally speaking, our models are so powerful because we have so many connections behind the scene. It's like a graph. And if we look at it, there are several types of dependencies we can have between elements. It's typically connectors, like you see in the middle, or you can have graphical references, which means elements are used on diagrams, or you can have type classifier style references. And LemonTree 3 has some visualization for this type of dependencies. This is this graph that you see here in a rather small project, but I think very interesting is this picture. It's from a real customer that is using the technology since quite a while now, and in this case the cyclic references are colored in red, so it's very easy to see where there might be a problem in the architecture. LemonTree 3 can handle cyclic references, but obviously it's not what you want. It makes perfect sense to resolve those and change your architecture accordingly. Okay, enough for PowerPoint for now. Let's look into Enterprise Architect. We start with a fresh Enterprise Architect, and we create the new model. Obviously, this model now will be empty, and we can start to introduce components from our model component library. So I go to specialize, I choose the LemonTree add-in, components, and the first thing I need to do, I need to configure the location of my component library. In my scenario here, this is a path in the file system on my local computer, and I add it, and that's basically everything I need to do to be able to use LemonTree components to add components parts. So let's go to import, and you can see there is several components available that I can introduce. We will click away most of them for now, and let's say we want to modify the system context. Now, when I click on system context, you can see automatically domain knowledge and base architecture are selected. This is because LemonTree Components is aware that the system context has dependencies to those two. Still, I can click away the dependencies and import it. And we can see here the system context was imported. But there is a concept that we call placeholders. For every dependency that is not here, we create placeholder items, traceability view, and those basically give you the elements that we need to make it happen. Okay, so this is maybe a better example. You can see the port here is represented by placeholder. Despite this not being complete and placeholders and everything, still we are able to modify this. So for example, I can add a node and create a relationship and all of this. So this is not necessarily stopping us from working, but it's simply not complete, and the elements are shown as placeholders. Now, if we go back to the LemonTree components and I click on reload, we can now introduce the missing bits, this base architecture and domain knowledge. There is one cool feature here. I can decide to do this read-only. So the component will be imported, but the user will not be able to modify it, because we move it into a special package. And so I need to reload here. And you can see this reference components. And here is now the base architecture and the domain knowledge. And I cannot modify these bits and pieces, okay? This is also helpful because it helps you to keep your architecture straight, because somebody modifying or using elements from these parts cannot create links that would change the element. Okay, in this case it works, but anyway, so this is the whole idea, that you're not able to modify these elements. You can create elements here like the trace, but it's not possible to alter these elements. Okay, and this is really a cool feature, and it helps you to have everything in sync. Once I'm done and I say, okay, my changes to the components are really substantial, I want to return them to the platform people, I can again go here and go on publish. And the cool thing now is we will see, okay, system context was modified. And if I cannot recall what my modifications were, I always have LemonTree at my as support, and I can click on the LemonTree button, and LemonTree will come up and show me exactly what we changed. And I think this is really a powerful solution to be able to control this whole package and component workflow in a very good fashion, because I can see the diagram was changed and one new element was added, and this is what was my intention. If I'm done, I click on publish, and now what happens, there is a JSON file written to my hard drive, and we can see it here, system context. And this is another cool feature of our technology, I would say, that we can double click on this file and check what's in there. So if I go to the MPMS system context, I can see, okay, it contains the system context and it has a node that we entered before. And this is very helpful, because before updating components or using components, you can peek into them to see what you will be getting later down the road. We have seen before the capability of the placeholders, and I want to show you one last thing about the placeholders now. I can go here and say, I want to remove one of the components from my model. Something that is also very difficult if you use other solutions for the same problem. In our case, I can go here and say delete. Also delete the packages from your model. And we can now cleanly remove the previously imported component from our model, and again we will introduce placeholders for the missing bits. So even if you import the component by mistake, or you want to make the model slimmer down the road and so on, you can safely again remove components, which is a pretty substantial feature, and sometimes very hard to do if you're based on other mechanisms to achieve similar solutions. Another thing that we will look at now is, how do I create the component? For this, I will change into my second Enterprise Architect instance. And you can see here we have a model, and it's created in a way that we see rather often, that there is the structure of architecture requirements, use cases, and so on. And then below that, you have the platform specific stuff. The customer A specific stuff is basically hidden below the topics. And obviously this uses some platform parts. And now we want to create the component for this customer A. So as you might, I close this LemonTree window really quick. And now we go back again to the LemonTree component stuff, and we say specify. And the specification, you have seen the screen before when I showed the deletion, but this is where the packages are defined, or the components are defined. And if you paid attention, you can already see that this is platform specific stuff, okay? And the platform contains 3 packages, not just one. And here you can see even all the dependencies, why there is this arrow here, why there is a dependencies between the 2 components. So I think this is pretty cool stuff here. And now we create the new component. And the trick here is that we can take sub packages of several packages and create the component that consists of packages that are lying in different parts of the hierarchy to create a logically useful component without having to restructure my modeling pattern. Now, if I click on create, my new component, the customer A was created, and I can click here and I can again see the dependencies and so on. So this is really helpful stuff to make things easier with reuse of models, with platform engineering and so forth. And obviously now, once I maybe didn't save it. No, I saved it. And now you can see, okay, I can now publish the customer A component to my local repository path. I'm not sure if this is the correct one, but anyway, you get the idea how you can do this. And now we created a component that can be reused elsewhere. Let's check if I got the correct. Yes, I got the correct one. And now we go back to the consumer model again, to the demo model, and we will import this customer A to show you how it will arrive here. So I go here. I go here and say import, and we will now only import the customer A. Despite there is dependency on platform, but yeah, maybe we import the platform because there's also some read-only stuff going on. So we import platform and customer A. And we close this window. And now you can see immediately after the reload that we have this architecture requirements and customer A stuff here. And because we choose read-only on the platform, the platform has been used in this space. Now again, maybe I didn't get it very nice before how the read-only works. If I now use a requirement as a link from the platform, I cannot change it. Somehow, yeah. I can use a trace link, but not in the other way. But I cannot type in the notes and nothing. So it's really not changeable. And this is super helpful. Okay. And again, you can see the hierarchy that we had in the original model was brought across despite this is one component. So these three packages that have been created is really one component. Now that I did some changes and I'm not happy with them, I can also use LemonTree and go to Revert. And the Revert capability again gives me some LemonTree support, so I can check it out, or I can click on Revert and use the power of the LemonTree merge mechanisms to do a selective revert on the changes I did. For example, I don't want this change in the use case diagram, or I'm not happy with this change on this element. So I can choose to go with the original one, which is the orange one here. Okay, and this is basically the functionality and how you can handle it. We don't want this relationship. It's gone anyway in the merge preview in the automatic. So I click on start merge, and now if I close it, there will be a revert of the changes that I did to the model based on this model component technology. And obviously, a full industrial workflow is something that needs a little bit of work to be understandable, but this is exactly what we do to make these things happen and help you deploy these types of solutions for your challenges in your organizations. Okay. So this was the demo part of the LemonTree components. If you have questions up to here, we are happy to take them in the chat. and I would have some time to answer something. If not, we move forward and go back to the PowerPoint. So what are the highlights of our solution at the moment? It's the fast JSON file-based export and import. It is the powerful dependency analyzer. We have several customers that love this LemonTree component stuff for the dependency analyzer alone. We have the capability to do read-only packages. We have a Git client to some extent in EA, which was not part of this presentation today, and the text diffing is also a lot improved over previous versions of LemonTree. So again, when you look at the full Liber story, the important part basically is that we do not try to reinvent the wheel, but we try to use established workflows from other disciplines, mainly software engineering, for the modeling, like the branching, the Git flow that we showed yesterday, or now this component stuff, how you can avoid working with 150% models, because one of the key problems of this 150% model variant management approach is always that you cannot control when you want to exchange a component to a newer version. As I said before, I have, for example, a project for Honda and one for Yamaha. And in the Honda project, I have to stick with an older version of a hardware. And in the Yamaha project, I can use the newer version of the hardware. And if at the later stage, I need to update the Honda project to the newer version of the hardware, I can exactly define when I do this upgrade. With 150% models, you typically can't, because it's all at the same stage, and it gets really, really complicated if you want to achieve that. Yeah, and the idea basically is to reuse assets from your modeling practices, either for a platform PLE approach or as a general model library where you can have standard components. And because of the precise versioning and control, when you update, you have a very consistent development process. And as I said also yesterday, these technologies also help a lot when you need to onboard new people into the modeling. Because one of the biggest things we see in our day-to-day consulting work is that if every change the new people do is live immediately, and somebody says a maybe not so nice word after they messed up the model, you lose people's interest in becoming good modelers. If you can provide them with tools and playgrounds to learn their trades in an offline fashion, but still have an automatic way to integrate their changes, you will see tremendous positive effects when you try to introduce new users to the modeling efforts in your organization. And also the components can be used in a very nice fashion to transport parts of your model to your supplier or to your customer, because you can hide stuff that they shall not care about, but still not lose the context. It's still the same. We will maintain the same EA GUIDs, and you can transport also parts of the model between organizations. So I was rather fast this morning, which is awesome because we have lots of time for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Thanks for the wonderful session. So we have a good bunch of questions for you to answer here. So the first simple question is, what's PLE from Rolf?
Product line engineering.
Okay. Okay, and the other question from question is, does it integrate with Mercurial?
This is a question we need to discuss offline. Generally,
Okay.
it's based on files, so yes, it can integrate.
Okay. And the other question is, any white papers which describe the user journey with PLE approach? From Matt Thomas.
Okay, we are working on that, but if you need some more stuff on it, we please contact us, and we will have some early stage material.
Okay. And the last question for you to answer here is, when you import LemonTree, LemonTree are the functionalities you use for creating LemonTree automatically part of the model or import. Maybe shall I paste this question over in your chat
Yes.
screen to get the context properly?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. So yes, I'm just pasting this question to you directly.
Okay, so I do not. Yeah, let's try to answer. I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but anyway, so this whole LemonTree components is built on the engine that so many users trust and love from the classical LemonTree. That is the different merge tool that you can integrate into version control systems. The big advantage is that in any step of the process, be it import, be it update, be it revert, or publish, you always have LemonTree at your disposal to check and validate what you are doing. So there is no black box anymore. And as I shown before, this is such a little feature, but for me it's really exciting that I can double click on the element and I can peek into a component before I send it somewhere, before I use it or import it into a model. So this is a really powerful thing. Also, if you remember the example I showed before where I removed the component again from a model, this also wouldn't be possible if this whole stuff was not built on the LemonTree core. I hope I got an answer for a question I didn't 100% understand.
Okay, so thank you, Daniel. So we have good number of questions too still. I'll be pasting all those questions in the Liber channel for you to take forward the conversation.
Yes.
Couple of questions need a few direct conversations with participants directly. So they prefer to talk to you directly. So I'll be pasting all those conversations over there for you to take forward after the session.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks to everyone for your time during the session, and I hope this session gave deeper insights in LemonTree components in LemonTree 3.0. Now the speaker will be available in MS Teams to have detailed discussions and one-to-one conversations. The link to Microsoft Teams is pasted in the chat window once again for your quick reference. The recording of this video will be available in eaglobalsummit.com with complete Q&A and the discussions underneath the video, and we will be notifying you all by email once it is made available. So we'll be making it available after a couple of days after this summit, maybe later next week. So yeah, that will be helpful for the participants who were not able to join due to the lack of time and availability. So thanks once again, everyone, and looking forward to hosting you all in another wonderful session at this summit shortly. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for the awesome session once again.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.